all right. You think that it won't be all right. Long-term damage. It's going to be all right. We got to find a way to make it be all right tonight. To today, our way is trying to make sure we don't catch the strays. I know back in the days we did damage. Now we got to try to find a way to manage. And I know that I beat myself up, but I know that going forward, life is still tough. And you got to deal with the fact that you still living. Other people have passed on, but I would warn you not to do more damage than you need to right now. I know that everybody got to bleed too. What they got to bleed when they get cut, but I'm trying to make sure that we keep ourselves up. Yeah. Urban Therapy with Sun 752. And this is the Urban Therapy with Sun show. Saturday the 29th, baby. So June is just about out here. You know, June is only a 30-day month. And so tomorrow ends that all. But we still got one more day. We got to make it through it. So speaking of make it through it, today we're talking about trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. Trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. What do you know? What do you know about long-term damage? What do you know about treating yourself in not such a healthy manner to the point where later on you start having health problems? And that's whether we're talking about physical health problems, mental, emotional health problems. What do you know about not really servicing yourself in a good way? Yeah, trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. Man, as we soldier through this life, we do so many things. We suffer so many hits. We don't treat ourselves as well as we should have treated ourselves. And then we have to deal with the way that we treated ourselves later on when the hammer comes down on us. Now, it's not always easy for us to look at it that way, but there comes a time when we always have to look in the mirror. And now I hear a real warning sign coming down. It's the dawning of the time. I'm gonna make sure that I treat myself better. I gotta wet a towel and wipe my face. Make sure I clear out the space and don't leave a trace of the drugs that I used to take. I never been on drugs, but I still got left in the wake of those who really indulge. And I know some did it because they pocket bold, so they had to sell it. And selling is just like using it, because you get into this thing where you're abusing shit. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? How y'all feeling? How are y'all feeling today on this glorious June 29th? It's the Urban Therapy with Sun show. I'm your host, Sun 752. And we are talking about trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. When we're young, man, we put ourselves under a lot of pressure. We put ourselves under a lot of stress, a lot of strain, a lot of pain. Sometimes in our quest to seem like we're superhuman, we prove ourselves to be more human than we ever really bargained for. And it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing when you get older than the age that you thought you would live to. Many of us thought that maybe we wouldn't live to get past 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old. And when you have passed those milestones or those roadblocks that you mentally thought that you would never be able to get by, now you have to ask yourself, well, what do I do now? I didn't expect to make it this far. Now I have to deal with what I did in order to make it this far. And you may have really done some major damage to yourself. So how do you deal with the long-term effects? How do you avoid the long-term effects? Well, that's what we're talking about today on the Urban Therapy with Sun show, man. Thanks for coming through. As y'all come on up in here, I know we slow to arrive, but when we get here, we're gonna hang out for a minute. Please hit the like button. Please share the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. This is the Urban Therapy with Sun show. And so, what's going on, G Terra Australia? G Terra Australia, what's going on? How you feeling? How are you from the land down under? All right, so we're talking about trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. You know, when I think about the effects of long-term damage, I think about, it doesn't always turn my mind towards the negative. Although when we're talking about damage, we aren't talking about positive, but you may have suffered damage in trying to do something positive. People who play sports for a living, professional athletes, they subject themselves to a lot of damage that lasts into the long term. That's why many athletes today try to get out of the game so they can have a decent life after they stop playing. High impact sports that have all kinds of negative effects, damaging effects on their joints, on their skin, on their muscles, on their knees, on their arms. You know, when you play competitive sports, even if you just play them leisurely, many of you feel the effects later on from when y'all used to be on the team when you were younger, and it may make you think like, wow, these professional athletes have to do so much in order to be able to compete against the best around the world. So what they subject their bodies to is not conducive to having a comfortable life later on. And we don't always think about that because we're mostly thinking about the money that they make. We think about the money that they make. You know, we do. We think about the contracts that they sign, the fame that they get, and their ability to have access to travel the world, meet all kinds of people, buy anything that they want. That's where our concentration lies. But then when you see some of those professional athletes later on and they're being interviewed and you see that they look nothing like they looked when they look nothing like they looked like when they were playing sports or when they were in the limelight or when they was out there getting theirs. And you think like, this is really, really tragic. It really is. Not all of them have been on drugs, but a lot of them have. And a lot of the times when they were taking drugs, it was to dull the pain or relieve the pain that they were feeling when they were playing the game. What's going on? Dimples D's all up in the house. Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So yeah, trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. The effects of long-term damage. Think about Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali declared himself to be the greatest from the time he started boxing professionally. He may have been saying that he was the greatest when he was in the Olympics, but he definitely self-titled himself the greatest when he started playing. And everything that he was doing pointed towards him being the greatest. He was really, really good. He was not mid in any way. The boy was not only a knockout machine, but he was a submission machine. He was a TKO machine. He was a humiliation and demoralization machine. But the thing about Muhammad Ali is that he took so many hits. His biggest problem was that he was Superman. His biggest downfall was that he took the hits. He could take a hit, one after another, getting bombed on by George Foreman, bombed on, beat on by Frazier, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, ultimately ending his career with Larry Holmes. By the time he got to Larry Holmes, he had already suffered so much long-term damage. Little did he know, little did we know. He was already going through it. He was already going through it. And so we got the Muhammad Ali that we got at the end of his life. Parkinson's. No, just a mere shell of the tall, good-looking, brash king athlete that he was when he was fighting. The social, Muhammad Ali wasn't just great. He wasn't just a great boxer. He wasn't just great in his sport, in his trade, but he was a great statesman. He was a great person. He was good for people, children. He was somebody who you would model, you would want your kids to follow behind his example. He was the epitome of success. An uneducated black man, uneducated black kid, high school dropout, School dropout. I don't even know if he made it to high school. Boxing was his only way out. And, he was very, very cocky and arrogant and he just had the whole braggadocious thing going on. That's the Muhammad Ali that we remember. That's the Muhammad Ali that we grew up with. That's the legend Muhammad Ali. As he entered into his 40s.
90 seconds.
Oh, God, what the? All right, hold on. I set Blog Talk. It don't be letting me. This might not go down. Hold on. I'm gonna try to extend it. It did do it. Like, okay, well, come on. It didn't. Okay, it extended it. This thing be acting a fool. It was acting a fool a month ago or whatever. It wasn't letting me extend it during the show. But yeah, that Muhammad Ali was the legend Muhammad Ali. When he entered into his 40s, you know how you see boxers, you see like Mike Tyson has a match coming up next month in July. And he had one last year against it wasn't last year, it was a couple of years ago, right? Against another older guy, Roy Jones. So you see these older boxers like George Foreman. He had made a comeback when he was in his 40s, damn near going into his 50s. They were able to do that because they didn't suffer as much long-term damage when they were fighting. They didn't take as many hits as Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali took a lot of hits. He was an undersized heavyweight. So going against those heavyweights, he was taking those hits because he did the rope-a-dope style, and he really, really could take a hit. But in his proving that he could take a hit and trying to make sure that he got them tired enough for him to be able to win the fight later on in later rounds, he suffered a lot of long-term damage. The Parkinson, imagine what it's like to be actually sharp in the mind on the inside, but your body is telling a whole different story. That was Muhammad Ali's story, the long-term damage. Now think about yourself. What kind of things have you done in your younger years, or maybe even now, that have the effect of long-term damage? Drinking excessively, smoking excessively, sniffing coke, taking drugs, pills, shooting up. We think that when we're younger, we can beat the clock, we can beat time, we can weather the storm. It doesn't always work out that way. Doesn't. Some of us may still be smoking cigarettes. Well, I didn't get cancer. I don't have cancer. Nobody in my family got cancer. They all smoke. We say things like that. It doesn't mean that it won't happen to us. But these are long-term. They still, even if you don't get lung cancer from smoking, you still can suffer long-term effects. You can still suffer heart disease, lung disease, a whole host of that. What's that shit? When it comes to smoking, emphysema, COPD, just not being able to breathe very well. Stacy White, thanks for coming through. And living love and light. Thanks for coming on through. And grown woman, don't try me. Grown woman, don't try who? Her. Thanks for coming through, y'all. Appreciate y'all. And David, what's good? What's good? My brother from another mother, Norris Hill. Sit back, relax, do your thing, Max and chill. Good to see you here, man. Really good to see y'all. The gang's back. The gang is all here. My originals, my day ones, my day funds. All right. So Let's get it popping. Urban Therapy with Sun 752, and this is the Urban Therapy with Sun show. We do this every single Saturday from 1 p.m. till around 2:30-ish. And the reason that we say 2:30-ish is because sometimes it gets so heated that we just have to do a little OT on a Saturday. And it is Saturday. This is the show where adults come out and play with other adults. We laugh, we cry, we argue, fuss, and fight, go back and forth with each other, bust it up all crazy. We take an introspective look into our own personality to see the way that the universe projects us into this thing called the world and try to figure out this thing called life. I'm your host, Sun 752, aka Omar with the and if you can't say Omar with the well, then you just say Omar with the R. This is the Urban Therapy with Sun show. I want to welcome y'all here. I'm glad that y'all here. Y'all could have been anywhere, but y'all chose to come spend a little time with me, and I appreciate every second of it. I'm feeling like a real man should, and I hope y'all feeling like real men and women should also. On this Saturday, the 29th of June, we are talking about trying to avoid the effects of long-term debt. I said trying to avoid the effects of long-term debt. I said trying to avoid. I said trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. What up, Christian? Okay, all right. So, yeah, things that you did when you were younger that may have an effect not just on your physical body, but they can have an effect on your mind state, your mentality, maybe even your mental state, the health of your mental state, hanging around crazy situations, emotionally charged situations all your life, either making you desensitized to other people's feelings or making you overly emotional, extra, foolishly cautious. Is there such thing as being foolishly cautious? Yes, because you could be cautious against the people who are good for you and good to you while letting in the other people who don't mean you any good and only mean you harm. So not being able to identify the good and the bad, the evil and the righteous. Yeah, that's long-term damage. When your mind is messed up, when you have dealt with situations that have had a really, really negative effect on your emotional state, that ain't no good. That's not a good look. That's not a good look, baby. So what kind of things have we done when we were younger that may have had the effect of long-term damage? Living Love and Light says dating me. Oh, you probably mean dating men that were way too old for me. It's funny to hear you say that because there's so much of that going on nowadays that people seem to be okay with. Joshua, what's going on, Joshua? And Jonathan Carter, bomb harder. Actually, I shouldn't have said that because he talking. Well, let me give him a chance. He might not be talking shit. He might not be a troll. Let me give you a chance. Let me give you a chance to be a troll, and then I'm a bomb on your dumb ass. Or if you cool, then I'm gonna apologize to your cool ass, and we gonna be all right. Let's just see how it plays out. So yeah, the things that we've done when we were younger, all these weed smokers, all these heavy weed smokers think it's sweet like that. Yeah, weed is a plant. It's from the earth. It's a herb. Yeah, but when you smoking it, you put yourself in a position to damage yourself physically. And that's even if you don't smoke. If you smoke it with cigar papers, like blunts and whatnot, then you're messing around in the tobacco realm, in the nicotine realm. So you could be like my best friend who died on May 15th. He smoked weed through blunts, in the form of blunts, since 1992, 1993, and now he's no longer with us. May he rest in peace. My man Earth, my man Lawrence. That's how it go. Joshua says nobody died from weed. You're right. You can smoke weed all day long, 24 hours a day. It doesn't mean it doesn't do damage. See, all right, let me explain something, Joshua. And I'm not coming at your neck or nothing like that. But there are things that you can do to hurt yourself, but it won't kill you. What they say, whatever doesn't kill you will make you stronger. They should have never came out with that shit, because whatever doesn't kill you might still fuck you up and make you wish you was dead. That's also another option. So like you can get shot up and they didn't kill me, but you full of holes. You done messed up organs. Shit ain't working the way that it used to. You shit bagged instead of pissing out of your dick. You shit bagged instead of shitting out of your butt. It didn't kill you. Still alive. Still here. It made you stronger? No, it didn't make you stronger. Not physically stronger. You weak as hell. Weak as hell. Quality of life in the tank. Quality of life in the toilet where you will never take a shit again. But it didn't kill you. So just like weed has long-term effects on your mental state, on your emotional state. See, no matter what you say, no matter what anybody says, because I used to smoke weed too, so I know this firsthand. One thing that weed does is it kills your motivation. It does. It kills your motivation. Physically, nope, it's not going to kill you. You will never hear anybody saying saying that the cause of death was smoking weed. You'll never hear that. The coroner will never find that weed kills you. But what your people who are alive will find is that you ain't motivated to do shit. You ain't motivated to work. You ain't motivated to make more money. You want to make money, but you ain't motivated. Everything is, well, it'll be there tomorrow. Ain't no rush. Everything good, blah, blah, blah. The only time you get motivated is when somebody try to tell you you need to stop smoking so much. All of a sudden, you real motivated. Like, I'm a grown man. I'm a grown woman. I can do whatever I want to do. Plus, it's not like drinking or drugging or nothing like that. Yeah, y'all get real defensive when it comes to that, knowing damn well that you smoking from sun up to sundown. Now, name me a substance that you need to do from sun up to sundown that's good for you. And weed ain't one of them. Because you don't need to eat from sun up to sundown. You don't need to drink from sun up to sundown. Only thing you need from sun up to sundown is air. That's it. And if you blow too much of that in your lungs, that you could die from that too. So listen, man, I don't want to go into the doom and gloom, but when we start talking about, trying to avoid the long-term effects, I'm really talking about practicing things in moderation, regulating yourself, exercising self-control. You can never go wrong with those things. Those three things, moderation, regulation, and self-control, you'll never go wrong. You will never go wrong. So, all right, hold on. Let me get into y'all comments. And by the way, y'all can call into the show. If you would actually like to express yourself verbally, I invite you to get on the microphone. Call 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. That's the number to call. I said a 319-527-6199. Yes, y'all. I said a 319-527-6199. Yeah, get on the line. I said a 319-527-6199. Yeah, get your shine, baby. Get your shine, baby. Get your shine, baby. 319-527-6199. 319-527-6199. Press number 1, and that will let me know that you would like to speak, and then I will call you out by the last 4 digits of your telephone number. You can rock on and do the damn, do the damn thing. All right, this is the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. I'm your host, Sun752. I'm feeling like a real man should. I hope y'all feeling like real men and women should also. And we're talking about trying to avoid the effects of long-term damage. Long-term damage. We talk about quality of life, baby. We talking about quality of life. Not just being alive, but how well you live. And y'all have to excuse me. Before I start reading y'all comments and going back and forth with y'all have to excuse me because my perspective is one of somebody who grew up around a lot of drug addicts, around a lot of drug activity. I've never sold drugs. I've never used drugs. But it sure ain't because it wasn't right there in front of me. It sure wasn't because I didn't have access. It sure wasn't because nobody asked me to. You know what I mean? I happened to be one who slipped through the cracks, but then I fucked around and had a drinking problem. So I didn't escape scot-free. I just didn't get involved with pharmaceutical drugs. Got more involved with the distillery. You know what I mean? That moonshine, that backwater, I don't know, the corn liquor. I guess moonshine would be the best word for it. But yeah, and I also work in a hospital. I work in a hospital. So that has an effect on my perspective because I see people sick and dying and people dead every day. Every single day I see this. And my saving grace for going to the hospital every day is that I get to go home from the hospital in the same condition that I came in there with. So it's like going to go get a checkup and getting a clean bill of health every day. I value that shit. I don't take that lightly because I have to deal with patients, nurses, doctors, technicians, other personnel in the hospital, and they ain't in such great shape. They may not be in the hospital as a patient, but that don't mean they're doing well. So, you know, if it sounds like I'm overemphasizing something or that I'm taking something too far or maybe I'm oversimplifying things, please bear with me. We here to build. That's all I'm trying to do, man. I like to see people doing well. All right, so let's go. Let me see what y'all talking about. Okay. Okay, wait. Living Love and Light says dating someone that is older than you is okay in theory at first, but then you find yourself having to catch up with the people that are your peers. It leaves you feeling behind. Not only that, but you can also, just because you date somebody that's older and they may say that you're mature for your age, maturity, you know, when an older man tells a woman that she's mature for her age, that just means that he wants to have the green light to fuck her. And I'm not taking that back. He just wants to be able to feel good about getting some young snatch. That's all. That's all. Because mentally and experience-wise, she ain't nowhere near him. So what maturity are you talking about? Because she don't talk a lot? Because she don't play with dolls? Because she not running around with her friends because she's too busy running around with your old ass? Shit ain't maturity. You a fucking pedophile. And she's a young victim and don't even know it. But see, you're not a pedophile until they mom don't like you. I'll repeat that. No man is a pedophile unless the mom don't like you. I seen that firsthand. Anybody want to dispute that? We can go toe to toe all day. If the mom has a problem with you, then she telling. She putting a stop to it. She's shutting it down. If the mom ain't got no problem with you, yeah, your 28-year-old ass can date her 16-year-old self. 15, yeah, grooming them for the future. As long as mommy say it's okay. And mom might say it's okay because you might be passing off a couple of dollars, paying some bills in the house. You know, doing what a man's supposed to do. You know, you raising this girl. You know, you teaching her things. You ain't just getting no ass from her. You're not just concentrating on your carnal desires. You showing her things, opening her up to things, besides just her legs and her mouth. You know what I mean? She might already have a baby. You taking care of the baby, you holding it down. You know, she 15, 16, got a baby already though. But she's not a legal woman. But you know, mommy said that it was probably better for her to be with you than those other little young boys, because they ain't going to do nothing but put another baby on her. Put another baby right up in her. All right. Saria and Bouchard, thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. And Keenan McElveen, thanks for coming through. Oskino Cash, what's good? And he says, this is why it's legal, because it keeps people in a zombie state. Yo, salute to you. Very rarely do people want to tell the truth about weed. Honestly, I ain't gonna lie, man. I think legalizing weed was the worst thing that ever happened to weed. When it was illegal, motherfuckers had to keep that shit. They had to regulate themselves. They had to watch out for themselves. They made it legal in a lot of states, or damn near legal now. They just gave you the green light to fuck yourself up. Just same thing with alcohol and cigarettes. Same thing. She says, water, moderation, self-discipline. I know I'm far up on the comments. I'm going to get there. Keenan says, self-control is the hardest thing for the body. No, it's not. It's the hardest thing for the mind. Because the body does whatever the mind tells it to do. Like, you think about, when you think about weed, when you think about cocaine, your body doesn't need either of those. It's not like a narcotic. They call it narcotics, but they're not narcotics. Narcotics have an effect on your body. So you can actually get sick and hurt, possibly even die if you stop taking them, depending on your level of dependency or your level of addiction. Art of the Mind 559, what's going on? That liver killer, yeah, that liver killer. Word. Nora says, how about the ones that are paralyzed, stuck in a wheelchair, or bedridden consequentially? Yeah. What don't kill you, make you stronger. Fuck out of here. You gotta stop that shit. Keenan says, never understood dating someone younger than themselves. Well, it depends on how young you're talking about. The older you get, the smaller the gap seems. Like, dating somebody 6 years younger than you when you're 20 is ridiculous. You 20, they 14. But you 36 and they 30, it's not a big difference. There are going to be some differences, but it's not going to be major to whereas it separates you socially. You know, but I don't care how you slice it. Somebody 20 years older than you, I don't give a fuck if he 80 and you 60. You was 20 when I was born? Come on, man. I see we have a caller on the line. Caller with the last number is 3012. I'm about to come and grab you in just a second. Let me just finish reading these comments, giving these shout outs, and I'll be right there. Bear with me. All right. Jungle Forever says Ashley Biden's diary matters. A lot of things matter. Your own diary probably matters. I know we all have a story to tell. Hold on. Bastard, I missed them too. Fuck. Okay. Kevin Lip says, no matter how good a woman looks, never hit. Never hit it? What does that mean? I don't know. Kumar Kabdi says, what's up, American King? What's going on, Kumar, man? Thanks for coming through. Appreciate you. You could have been anywhere. You came to kick it with me, and I appreciate it. Every second, every minute. GE, General Electric, what's going on? Thanks for coming through. All right, all right. Good looking out, y'all. TK Wright says Norris, he likes testing the waters to see how far he can go. Once he started about being moist. Oh, okay. I look like I saw that shit. And I'm like, all right, here we go. All right. Keenan says, I'm not of this world. Jesus renewed me, brothers and sisters. Well, that's good. Kumar says, it's delusional need for the mind. Kevin says, fake it till you make it works in many cases to be successful. It really doesn't work. But that's another form of faking it till you make it. This chair is irking the shit out of me when it keeps dropping. It must need more hydraulic or something like that. But I'm not trying to sit all low. In a minute, I'm about to change the chair because I can do that. All right. Keenan says the weed takes over the mind, making it the only thing pleasurable. I've been there. 1 year sober, one day at a time. Good looking, and yo, more than great for you. More than great for you. I guess I read everybody's comment. All right, let's go. We have a caller on the line. Caller with the last numbers 3012. Thank you so much for holding on. Welcome to the Urban Therapy with Sun Show. What is on your mind this afternoon? What's good?
Thanks for having me, son.
Thanks for being here, ma'am. What's good?
Thanks.
What's up with you?
I wanted to change this perspective a little bit. Well, add a little perspective to this topic because it's deeper than what people understand too. I mean, in lots of ways. I work at hospitals. I'm a nurse, and I work at hospitals, nursing homes, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. People deciding to not have children or a family and end up alone. People end up, living their lives from a racist standpoint and have to live in that racism when they're old. Mm-hmm. It really goes deep in what you're doing in your life and how it all ends up.
Definitely. So yeah. Break that down a little bit more. Be more specific. Hit the nail on the head, please.
So I see a lot of people that are, that chose not to have families. They chose to be long-term daters, never get married, living a life of total playfulness. And when they get older, they're stuck in a situation where they're dying alone in this world, And that could be very, very difficult, by the lifestyle that you're living when you're younger. You're living a party lifestyle. You're deciding that you're not going to, expand your horizon. And next thing you know, you're in one of these places alone, Okay. So that's another sad aspect of it.
All right. Now, do you think that people actually choose that path in life to set themselves up to be alone or lonely later on in life, or do you think that they are more of a victim of circumstance? Like,
I think that people set themselves up to be alone, and it's sad. You become a victim of circumstance because of it. I mean, people are calling it, when you find a wife later on in life and try to have children later on in life, they're calling it, different names, but it ends up being sad, and a lot of things that we do in our lives that put us in a lot of situations. Like, for example, I ride motorcycles, and I got into a huge motorcycle crash, and I broke 16 bones in my body, and I could have died. And later on in life, all of that breakage, all of that pain that I suffered then, it may be fine now, but, arthritis might kick in, and I may be just completely messed up in all of those spaces that I broke.
Without a doubt. Daredevil activity, riding bikes, even if you just drive trucks or cars for a living, all of those things have long-term damage. All of them have long-term damage because you're concentrating in one position for many hours a day. They say that sitting is the new smoking. You know, because many people who drive for a living, they don't take good care of themselves. They're eating at those rest stops. They're having sex with those chicks at the rest stops. They're not getting good exercise. They don't have a lot of time to do a lot of family activities. But I wanted to go back to and also they are driving long hours and hardly ever getting really good quality sleep. But I wanted to go back to what you were talking about with people who are in the hospital, because there are two sides of this coin that probably have to be considered, and neither one of them are right or wrong, but they have a lot to do with decisions that you make in your life. Being When we start talking about being in old age, being a senior citizen, and how we got to be there without having people around, I don't really think that anybody chooses that path. But I think that one of the ways that it can happen is that you have to decide whether you want to hook up with somebody in order to take out insurance on for later on in your life, or do you want to make sure that you preserve yourself for the right person so that you'll be with somebody in the long run? Because you can get hooked up with somebody that's there for now, but things can happen as you learn and grow. You can grow apart, and now you're divorced. You were in a good marriage, or a situation that seemed like it had a lot of promise, but it didn't work out. And maybe your standards were high to the point where you weren't going to just link up with somebody or be with somebody that really didn't give a shit about you. I mean, you may have.
Look, I see pictures. I mean, I see people carrying photo albums with them with their dating history life. You know, it's men that are in the nursing homes, and they have all of these picture books and photo albums of all of the women that they dated, and they can't wait to show you how beautiful these women were, and there were lots of them, and decided to just live a playful life and didn't have children, and they're alone in these places. So a lot of the times it's like drinking. When you're deciding to drink when you're young, when you're deciding to do drugs when you're young, you're not asking for liver damage. You know, you're not saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and accept the consequences of liver damage. You're not thinking about that when you're in the process of living this lifestyle. You know, it's the same with that.
What I'm saying is, okay, now I don't know too many older men that don't have any children, but I know that they exist. But there can be reasons why you didn't have. There can be biological reasons of why you didn't have any children. Because I'm thinking, if you're out there playing, after a while, like if you're a real player, you ain't using condoms all the time. That's a fact. So you must have been blanking it. You must have been blanking it out there some way, in some form, unless they all had abortions. But my point is, even if you get into let's say you get married, you have children and things like that, there's no guarantee that your children are going to be there for you later on in life. I've been in nursing homes and shit like that, and you know, kids don't give a shit. You know, I would say 90% of the patients that are in nursing homes, they have families, but them families don't be giving a shit until they loved one, or so-called loved one, dies in a nursing home because of neglect or something like that. Now this was my favorite aunt. Oh, my mom didn't deserve this, and blah 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 blah. But you didn't want to be bothered. Y'all had family meetings like, well, what we gonna do with mommy? What we gonna do with Aunt Kay? What we gonna do with Uncle Rob? Yeah, nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to. Nobody. So it's not always a personal choice.
I've worked in hospitals where, you know, the family member was dying, and, you know, we're calling the family in to come in and say their last words. And the children are asking me, you know, are we going to give them the pill? And we're like, what pill? What pill do you mean? The pill to kill them? I've had somebody actually ask me that.
Yeah, it's not that surprising. They want them out of the way.
But it's not just men. Yeah, it's not just men. It's women too that are choosing. Oh, you're choosing this lifestyle to just not start a family, and it's not. That's to each his own. Everybody can do whatever they want. If you want to be kid free, if you don't want to, like you said, there's no guarantees that you'll have children that care about you. It's really based on what kind of parent you are. But a lot of people are living this child-free lifestyle, and living this kind of lifestyle and end up alone.
I don't know.
It's really sad because it happens a lot.
I don't know. For me, I don't know if I can qualify that as long-term damage. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's a long-term. It's an effect, but I don't know if that's a product of something that you've done. I don't know.
But it's still the long-term damage goes really far. You have people that are having children, especially back in the 90s, and having children and collecting welfare and just having more children just to collect more checks. Eventually, your children are going to grow up, and you now don't have that money, and now you're trying to compete with the world and trying to work, when everyone else is working towards having a retirement account and having savings for their future. These people are dealing with long-term damage of not having anything based on trying to just take from the system. So it's more than just what you're putting in your body. It's laziness. It's the decisions that we make. It's a lot. You just have to be really careful and base your life on what your future is going to look like. A lot of people don't even think about the future when they're living this life.
Well, when you grow up poor and uneducated, your perspective on things are a lot different than somebody who has gone to school or grew up with a different kind of upbringing. Because when I hear people say, when I just heard you say they were having all of these children just to get more checks, and I'm thinking like, I don't know if you've ever been on welfare before, but that ain't no money. You get about 50 extra dollars per child. So you just become.
I know people too. Yeah, I know people. I've never been on welfare myself, but I do know people that have decided to have more children to collect money from the government.
Why? Wait. Let's clarify something, because you sound like a right-wing politician. You're telling me that people who consciously had children for the reason of getting a bigger check, because the cost.
Yes, I do.
Well, how does that work when the cost of taking a child of taking care of a child is how much would you, what's a ballpark figure that you would say is enough money to support a child for 1 month?
A lot of people aren't thinking about the support of the child.
How can you
They're
not?
thinking about the support of keeping a roof over their head.
When you're on welfare, you don't have a roof that you're paying for to keep over your head. Everything is subsidized. So you don't have to have more children to keep it. So what I'm saying, I think
a lot of people feel like they're winning. They feel like they're winning when they don't have to get up and go to work.
I dispute that.
You dispute it all day long, but if you go ahead and type in your comments and ask people if they know people like this, I'm sure that somebody's going to know some people like this.
I don't have to listen. I don't really have to go to the comments because I've lived this life. Listen, I grew up right around the corner from the projects. I've been in the projects. I've been around poor people all my life. I'm not talking about broke people. I've been around poor people all my life. And they have children because broke people don't have much to do except for fall in love and fuck, and get high.
I mean, it's the
same. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have never known anybody that was on welfare who has even intimated even one iota that they had another baby so they could get more on their check. They had a baby because they had sex. They had baby because they fell in love with somebody. They had baby because they had. Hold on. Stop, please don't overtalk me. They had babies because they put themselves in situations where a baby is going to come out of it. If you have sex, unprotected sex, then yeah, you have children. But it was not with the conscience. It was not with the conscience of getting more money, because they know that it takes more money than $50 extra, even $75 extra on a check, which is all you get for another child. So I mean, it doesn't. Yeah. Just because they on welfare don't mean that they can't do math. That's why a lot of people
I'll give you this.
Wait a minute. Wait, please. I never cut you off anytime you was talking. Let me get this out. So when we're living a certain type of way, it's easy for us to look at the result of something and say, yeah, this is why they did it. But when we're not there, when we don't see how those things materialize, when we don't see how they come to be, I'm not here to protect anybody for being on welfare, but when we start talking about, first of all, when we start talking about welfare, we start talking about people who look like me, and we get the label for being on welfare when there's way more white people on welfare than us. It wasn't even created. Exactly. It wasn't even created for us. It was created for them, and that's why it's never going to leave. It's never going to be a policy that used to be. It's here forever to stay, because it's a bargaining chip, and it actually makes money instead of taking away from our taxes, like the Republicans try to tell you. But the thing about it is, when you're dealing with the poor, who don't financially contribute to elections, campaigns, or to society as a whole financially, they are an easy scapegoat for anybody who wants to make a point, whether they're talking about how come they can't get something, or how come you should elect them over somebody else. But that most people on welfare that I know, they did other things to make money. They knew that the welfare made them poor, and in order to make ends meet, they would do hair, or they would sell dinners, sometimes sell their food stamps. Many of them are on drugs, and that welfare money ain't enough to keep you on drugs. That won't even last you a day. So it's not like a lot of people try to make it seem. But going back to what you were talking about originally, it's like, I don't know if you're doing something to yourself. Like, all right, I'm unmarried. I've never been married before, but I never worry about if somebody's going to take care of me in my old age, because I have friends at every age. It's not like I've alienated people, and I know other people that are like me. Maybe marriage is for some and not for all, but there's no guarantee that just because you marry somebody that they're going to be there. What if you outlive them? What if you got married 3 times, outlived all 3 of them? Yeah, well, you followed the blueprint to have somebody take care of you in your old age, but you might be like my mom. My mom is 83, and both of her ex-spouses are gone now, and she doesn't have a lot. She's outliving most of her friends, so all she has is her children. But it could have went another way. She could have outlived us too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I buried a spouse, so I mean, I've had my spouse pass away. But I do agree with that, but I do see that a lot. I see a lot of the decisions that people make that are leaving them in dire situations. And I hate to go back to the welfare incident, but still, it's like the decisions that people make when the person decides that they're going to actually date a basketball player for the bag. They're not expecting him to get hurt. They're not expecting him to not have that money. They're not expecting for him to lose everything. You know what I mean? So just a lot of the decisions that we're making, a lot of people that are making, they're not actually making decisions that are valuable for their future. Well, So it's just,
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So it's just one of those things to where, I see it a lot. I see people that decide to commit. I saw a guy that decided to commit suicide, and he's in the nursing home, and half his brain is missing, and now he's just angry all the time, and that's a part of his cognitive behavior. And what's worse, trying to commit suicide and actually it not going through. So it's the decisions that we make. It's more than just drinking or smoking or doing drugs. It's actually the lifestyle that we're deciding to live now in a whole.
Yeah. Well, that's when I talk about the trying to
90 seconds.
Trying to avoid the long term effect. What the hell? When I talk about trying to avoid the long term effects of what are you talking about? 90 seconds. It's a whole hour left. When I talk about trying to avoid the long term effects, and I think about things like I think about drinkers, I think about smokers, I think about people, party people, I think about athletes, I think about people who work
60 seconds.
long hours and dangerous jobs and things like that. Because in their quest to try to make things better for themselves or for their families, they can often hurt themselves bad. Like, I get on people all the time about not getting enough sleep. And they think that just because they're younger or they have the energy today, that it'll be okay. When I started working the graveyard shift, third shift, my biggest concern was that I know that takes years off of your life. Now, people who work third shift, they'll tell you, oh, shoot, I love third. I first of all, I don't like to be up in the morning. I like being up at night and blah blah. I'm used to it.
10 seconds.
And they don't believe that this is going to hurt them over the years. They don't believe that that they're doing their bodies all kinds of damage, and that's because they don't know.
Yeah.
When they say ignorance is bliss. Hold on. When they say ignorance is bliss, they're saying ignorance is bliss because when you don't know something, then you don't have to fear it. But when you find out that, number one, human beings are not supposed to be up all night. We have a circadian rhythm.
Right.
We weren't built for that. We're supposed to sleep at night.
Right.
Sure. We make a choice.
Nobody does that better than the nursing industry, for real.
Yeah, many of them don't seem to understand it because
I work 16-hour shifts. Those shifts started to climb on me to where now I work 16-hour shifts, but I do a 10-day stretch, and then after the 10 days is over, I just don't work anymore until the 10 days start again.
So you do,
so 10 days of each month and do 16 hours each for 10 days straight. So you have to find your rhythm.
How many days do you do 16 hours straight?
10 days.
What?
But that's all I work out of each month.
So for 10 days in a row, you do 16 hours.
That's correct.
And so how much do you sleep on those days?
Well, I work from 6 a.m. to usually 11 p.m. So I'm usually sleeping throughout the night, and then I go and do it again for 10 days.
No.
And after that, I just rest.
How many hours do you sleep on those individual
About
days?
6.
How?
6 hours.
How? They're only 24 hours in a day. So where do you go?
Yeah, that was my reason for, I have a choice that I actually moved myself to the forest. I was telling you before, I moved myself to the forest. So I live in a wildlife forest. And for 10 days a month, I have an Airbnb that's right next to the hospital. So I'm literally walking distance. And I also have a travel van. So when I choose to use my travel van, I'm a travel nurse. So based on whatever hospital I work at, I will live in my travel van for 10 days. And that way I can get more sleep because my travel van is in the hospital parking lot.
Okay. So after doing doubles, After doing a double each day, you go right home and go right to bed.
I go right to bed
Okay.
because I understand that it's a commitment that I'm making not only for the people that I'm working with and the people that I'm helping, but to my own health. So
Right,
it's
right.
like I used to work lots of doubles and then only have 2 days to rest. And then because in the hospital, it's like we're so short on nurses, we're so short on nursing staff that, you find yourself doing more and more and more and more. So you have to find your own rhythm. If not, then you will work yourself to the bone. And like my mother did, my mother worked herself to the bone, had some back issues, paid for her own surgery, and didn't want to complain, because I come from the old, Mississippi mindset where you don't want to complain. You don't want to tell the people what's happening or you'll lose your job. And I just happen to have been raised in California, and I understand the stress that comes along with working and also on my body. But we have a lot of nurses that do 16 hours straight, constantly, constantly, constantly. And they're not going to tell you, hey, you've done too many doubles. You can't work this many. Your body is going to break down. Nobody's going to tell you that. They're just going to celebrate you while you're there.
Well,
So in nursing, you have to find your own rhythm. And my rhythm is 10 days straight for 16 hours each day, or either being in my travel van or in the Airbnb. And then after that, I'm off to my wildlife forest where I'm alone with nature and my dog, and it's just me. And I have pretty much 20 days to just re-up myself before I decide to do it again.
okay. So, all right. Even with the care that you are trying to take to remedy the long term effects of your work schedule, since you're a nurse, what are the long term effects of working a schedule, even if it was just 12 hours a day for 3 days a week, like a lot of nurses have elected to do? What are the long term effects?
Well, I mean, you have the mental stress of you're responsible for making sure that you give accurate details and medications and taking doctor's orders and making sure that people are getting what they need. You are double loaded sometimes where there's lots of calls and call-ins, so you have patients that you've never worked with. You have the stress of making sure that you don't overdose anyone. It's mostly mental. And then on top of that, you're standing most of the day. You're on your legs, you're on your body. And then when you work at a hospital, you're doing the job of not just the nurse, you're doing the job of the CNAs. I'm responsible, and I'm the type of nurse that I am also a CNA, which is a nursing assistant. So if someone is wet, I change them. If someone is dirty, I clean them. If someone needs a shower, I will do it. I don't leave it to my CNAs because it's very difficult for them as well. They have the grunt work of everything. I might have most of the mental stress, but the body stress goes on the staff that's underneath me. And I'll be damned if I'm their supervisor and I'm letting them take all of that stress on.
Well, okay.
So it's a lot.
I was really asking about the long term physical effects because there are many.
Back issues. You have your back issues. You have the PTSD. That if someone, you decide that you're going to give too much morphine and that person is overdosed on morphine.
No.
And,
I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm talking about the long term physical effects of the nurses, not the patients.
I'm telling you right now, my mother still has dreams. To this day, and she has not been working for 20 years, and she's still waking up in the night having nightmares of not completing her shift. Like, she tells me all the time that she's having dreams about her starting her shift and then all of a sudden it's over and she got nothing done. That is PTSD. That's a long-term effect on your body and on your mind. You have back issues. You're breaking down. You have muscle pain. A lot of nurses and doctors are on not doctors, but a lot of nurses and a lot of CNAs are on more medications than the patients, trying to just keep up with their body from the long-term effects.
But that's what I was asking you about. See, PTSD is not
That's
is not a
exactly
physical.
what I was telling you.
Well, PTSD is not a physical condition. It's not psychological.
Is it not a physical condition?
It's
Because I would
absolutely not a
debate the
physical.
difference. Because if your show is a debate show, so I would debate the difference that PTSD is a physical. If PTSD can very much so be physical because it keeps you up at night. What is that doing? That's crashing your organs, crashing your body. It's your mind. It's PTSD is a long-term physical effect on the human body.
No, it's not.
Okay.
When you are
I mean,
awake,
I would debate the difference from a medical standpoint, but I also would acknowledge your lack of understanding on it.
I don't have lack of understanding. When you take the word awake, being awake is not a physical condition. It's a mental condition.
So you're telling me that if you cannot sleep, it does not have a physical effect on you?
Yes, it does. But sleep.
Exactly. So then you just
But
said that
sleep.
it's not a physical
Wait a minute.
effect.
But sleep itself is physical. Sleep is physical.
Sleep itself is physical, but when your mind is not letting you sleep,
All right.
it becomes physical.
What does PTSD stand for?
You know what? It's funny that you say that because I cannot tell you right now.
Okay, it stands
But
for
I do know
post-traumatic
that
stress disorder.
PTSD.
It stands for
Yes.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Okay.
And when you think of post-traumatic stress disorder, it sometimes will keep you up at night. It will keep you up at night. You sometimes cannot sleep. There's times to where I have gone 3 days without sleeping. And I'm going to tell you something else that PTSD has had on me. I have been driving from all of my shifts, and I am going through the redwood forest, and all of a sudden I blank out, and my body feels like I am literally my body has felt like, just from the stress of everything that I have dealt with in those 10 days, my body has felt like I was driving on mushrooms. Everything advances itself. Everything, literally, to the point where I have pulled over and not knowing, should I call 911 or should I continue? Literally, it's the lack of sleep from the stress that you get from not knowing if you completed your job or not knowing if you harmed someone or not knowing if you've done something correctly, not knowing if your paperwork was tight. The PTSD that you get from that will keep you from sleeping. And if you don't get to sleep, then your physical starts to completely align with that.
I'm totally in agreement that PTSD affects you physically, but
Okay, thank you.
But you're not. But that's not it. You know, don't try to win. We're not battling. But
and we're not battling.
Okay,
this is your battling show, but we're not battling. Go ahead.
So,
I'm just agreeing with you and thanking you for my point.
There are more points here. All right. So PTSD is a psychological condition that has an effect on you, that can have an effect on you physically, because anything that stresses you out can damage your organs. It can damage your cardiovascular system. It can damage your nervous system.
For sure.
But that's what I was asking you. So PTSD is not in itself a physical condition. The question that I asked you was what are the long-term physical damages that can be done through working all of those hours. So you can't say PTSD. Hold on, because you said a lot. You can't say PTSD because that's not the question that I asked you. Nobody has PTSD as a physical condition. You can't look at somebody and say, "Oh, damn, they have PTSD. That's why they breathe like that, or that's why they walk like that."
Okay, so you're telling me that if a person got their leg cut off, and they constantly think that their leg is there, and they think that they can stand on that leg, you're telling me that that's not a part of PTSD?
It doesn't make it. No, that's not. Listen, I'm not questioning what PTSD. Remember, I know what it stands for. What I'm saying
Okay,
is,
well, let's
it's
take PTSD.
wait,
off
slow
the
down,
table.
slow down. What I'm saying is, PTSD is not a physical condition. It's a product that PTSD can lead to physical problems, or physical problems
Okay.
physical problems as they happen can lead to PTSD. But
For
PTSD
sure.
is a psychological condition. Yes,
I agree
yes
with
it can.
you.
Okay, but that's all I was saying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, well, I
And I didn't
completely agree with
wait.
you.
And I didn't ask you that. I asked you what were the learn. This is what I was looking for, and you already said without knowing that that's what you were answering what the long term effects were. You said lack of sleep. You said how it can affect your organs. How it can affect the way that you do things and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I'm just trying to keep these things. I don't.
Back
What I don't
issues.
like to do. What I don't like to do is put out false information, even if it's for a good reason. So I can't let you say,
Hmm.
I can't let you sit on this show and say that PTSD is a physical condition. It's
Well,
not.
I
You know,
would say, let's
listen,
take
listen,
back
listen.
that I said
Anybody,
PTSD as a physical condition.
listen. Anybody who has been molested, witnessed a murder,
Hmm.
seen their parents fight, been stung by a bee, bitten by a dog, anything that causes you fear or anxiety, it has the ability to give you PTSD.
So
PTSD
yes,
is
and
not.
I agree with that. I agree
Okay,
with that
and
because
that's
I
why
can, I
it's
mean,
and that's
at least
why
three
it's
of those I
wait a
can
minute,
say
and
that
that's why
I've
it's not a
experienced. I
and that's
took the
why
life of someone.
and that's why it's not a physical condition. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist, but you have to put things in the right category.
Yeah.
If I have a headache, you can't say that my mind is hurt. That's
Mm-hmm.
a headache is a physical condition. My mind being
Uh-huh.
hurt means I might be sad. I might be upset about something. You have to separate the two. That's all. That's
Uh-huh.
all. You know.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you on that. So let's take it back and let me say that the physical effects has led to PTSD for a lot of nurses.
Can you just tell me the physical
And
effects?
that,
Wait, can you just answer the
okay,
question?
so the
Keep it
physical, I told
physical.
you, the physical
Arms,
effects, and then you
legs,
have
eyes,
constant
ears,
back
heads,
issues.
extremities,
You have
organs.
constant back issues. You have a lot of back pain.
Okay.
You have a lot of muscle pain.
Okay.
You have a lot of, like I said, I already said the lack of sleep. You have, you just have a lot. It's a lot. It's huge on your body.
Can it lead to heart disease?
It can lead to heart disease.
Okay. How
And the way
about
that can lead to heart disease, just in a lot of people that are working, eating for convenience. When you're at work, you're most likely, if you're not packing your lunches every day, you're eating for convenience.
okay?
And a lot of that convenience can lead to the effects of heart disease.
What happens to the body? What happens to the body when it doesn't get enough sleep?
Well, what happens to the body, you have organ failure. You have a lot of mental issues that come along with it. Your body, your muscles, there's everything can happen to you with the lack of sleep.
And why does that happen?
If you
Because,
think of
wait a minute, wait. Why does that happen because of lack of sleep?
because sleep and drinking water, sleep, air, sunlight, those are the biggest components that help your body go. It's like if you think of your body as a car, and if you're constantly driving your car, well, what will happen? Your engine will shut down. Everything will eventually shut down on you.
Okay. This is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. When your
Tell me
body
what you were looking for.
when your body sleeps, when your body is at rest, that's when it repairs itself. So as you damage your body when you're awake, when you rest, that's when your muscles are able to grow. That's when
Mm-hmm.
your sicknesses are able to be processed and dealt with
Your
properly.
immune system.
That's
Mm-hmm.
your immune
Mm-hmm.
system. Your immune system kicks in during your sleep time. So that's
Mm-hmm. Well, it
I'm
looks like we said the same exact thing.
no, we didn't. I was looking for the
We
exact
kind of
answer.
did.
I said that your body repairs itself at when you sleep. So
Yeah.
so what I'm looking for is when you don't get enough sleep, your body doesn't have time to repair itself. It would be just
Yeah.
like
Regenerate.
it would be
Mm-hmm.
just like if you never restart your phone or computer or if you never turn your car off. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you don't give it a chance to recover. Your body recovers when you sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So people who work long hours consistently, daily, when they could get something as simple as a common cold, but that cold will be hard as hell for them to fight because they know that when the body has damage to it or when it gets sick, when
Mm-hmm.
something is out of whack, it makes you tired because it's telling you that I
Mm-hmm.
need to sleep so we can regenerate these cells, so we can repair ourselves,
Uh-huh.
so we can get better. So
Uh-huh.
people who work in nursing, people who work overnight, people who drive for a living, people who only get about 3 or 4 hours of sleep each night, they don't give their body a chance to repair itself. It will not repair
Mm-hmm.
itself effectively while you are awake. It will do it
And
eventually,
that.
but it won't do it
Mm-hmm.
effectively, and that's why you're inflicting more and more long-term damage
And a
as
lot
you
of the
practice
times, the
not getting
people
enough
are not
sleep.
understanding why it's important to put your own life vest on first. You know, when you're working these jobs, when you feel like they need you for extra hours and you feel like you need the money to do it, you have to be able to put your own life vest on first, and take care of yourself first. And that's my reason for, doing the hours and the way that I work and the way that I deal with things. I turn my information on my phone completely off when it's time for my job during those 20 days, unless I feel like I've gotten enough rest. And that's rare because I put myself first, because I'm looking at the long-term effects and how working my job will have a long-term effect on me, and how I need more for myself. If I can't take care of myself, if I have nothing to give, then I have no business supporting anyone else.
Well,
You know.
in many of our quests for success or financial success, material success, we will sacrifice, and we're conditioned to sacrifice our physical health, and even we even encourage to believe that while
That's a
we
slave mentality.
well, not necessarily a slave mentality, because
Well, me personally, I call it a slave mentality. I call it a slave mentality because a lot of the times the benefits that you're getting versus the benefits that you're giving doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up.
well, many people may just call that business. When I hear the word slave, I always think about American slavery, and that means working for free. And the slaves didn't have a
Well,
choice of whether to work. You and I have a
a lot of the
choice
times you
of
are working for free.
no. We're
A
not.
lot of the times
I
you
don't
are
know
working
about
for free.
you. I'm never working for free.
When you're thinking about how much your job is making versus how much you're being paid for the hours that you're there, you're just one of the persons that's doing your job.
That's called business.
When you think about that is you're not making half or not even a 1%, 2% of the money that the companies are earning on your head.
That's called business. Why you knew
It's
about
called
that?
business and everything.
Are you working for free every week or every other week?
I'm not working for free, but I work personally just so that I can support myself and just so that I can put a little bit up in savings and I take what I need. And after I'm done taking what I need, I regenerate myself to make sure that I have enough to give to anyone else.
And that makes you
I could care
different
less
from
about being rich.
And that makes you different from who?
obviously the masses, the way you're saying it.
No, because I said I'm disputing that we work for free. The slaves did not have a choice of whether to work or not, and they didn't get paid a cent. So the word slave is a trigger for me because no, I can't compare myself to any slave. I've never done any slave work, never, ever.
Yeah, you've never done slave work, but at the same time, you have worked for a job. Like, for example, if I open an agency today, a nursing agency today, and I'm being paid $15,000 for this person, $15,000 per let's just say every other week for this person that I am taking care of, that I have in my agency that I'm taking care of. I then hire a worker and give them 5% of that. And people don't understand that they're not really earning what they need. It's education. It's the understanding that you also can be a person that can own your own establishment, and that could be a person that's ahead of the game. But a lot of people don't think that way. And a lot of people just work and think they're saving and think they're working all these extra hours, and they think they're actually living, and you're not. A lot of people go on vacation and without the money to even go anywhere.
The thing is, when we start talking about the slave mentality, we're talking about a whole different thing.
Well, I'm talking about modern day slavery.
Well, I mean, listen,
I'm speaking about modern day slavery.
Everybody has the ability and the choice to start their own business and to decide what the budget is and how much it's going to take in order to create jobs and generate wealth.
Don't.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
A lot of people don't.
We have the choice. No, we all have the choice. Whether we have the training, whether we have the conditioning, that's a different story. I said we all have the choice. So just the same way, nobody is taking us to any company and saying, you gotta work here and you gotta take this salary, sign here and be here on Monday, and you better be here. That's literally what slaves went through. So I can bitch that that I work for $1 billion industry and I only make 5 figures. I can bitch about all of that, but guess what? I knew that going in, and I made the choice to do it. So ain't no reason to be bitching. If I don't like it, I can go down the street and I can work somewhere else that'll pay me more, or I can start my own shit and work it out that way. But getting back
so then it goes back to the long-term effects of what the long-term effects of what your lifestyle is actually doing to you. It goes back to the topic of your conversation. The long-term effects of what it does to you.
No, the topic is long-term damage, not long-term effects.
Long-term damage, the long-term damage of what it does to you.
Okay,
a lot of people are working, work, and then all of a sudden when it's time to retire, you're no more good to even yourself. You're not even available for your own body's not available to get you to do these things you dreamed of doing, because you've been putting so much into giving and to doing. It's a rat race. It's called sheeple.
Okay.
And I'm just not a sheeple.
Okay. What I will accept is that when you start talking about people retiring at age 62 to 67 or whatever, and yeah, many people who work that long, don't live very long after they finish working. But it wasn't like they were working the whole time. They may have been doing other things.
Yeah.
They may have been doing other things that had a negative effect on their longevity. For example, they may
like trying to take the weekend to make the biggest party weekend because you work so hard on the weekday. You only have Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, to really do anything for yourself. Now you're drinking more on Saturday and Sunday. Now you're partying more on Saturday and Sunday. You're trying to get it in for those 2 days because of how much you're actually putting out to everyone else.
Well, I know people who don't wait.
Long-term damage.
I know people who don't wait till the weekends. They get it in every day.
Yeah.
So
there's that long-term damage.
Maybe if they only did it every weekend, they would probably be in good shape, because that is a form of moderation. Yeah. But since they're doing it.
Yeah, but moderation is a lot of people just decide, okay, well, we're going to drink in moderation. There's people that decide that they're going to have a cocktail, you know, before sleep or after a glass of wine after work, you know, that's more healthy than deciding to binge on the weekend because it's the weekend. It's Friday. Let's all go party. Now all of a sudden you're feeling drunk when you wouldn't feel drunk, you know, if you were to have a glass of wine a day after you get off of work. You know what I mean? A lot of people are putting that on themselves, deciding that they're just going to do it big because it's the weekend.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, we're talking about the long-term damage. And so anything you do in excess has the potential to render long-term damage. Now, what do we do what do we do to diminish or reduce the effects of long-term damage? Because
living for you.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That was a rhetorical question. Don't answer. Hold on.
Oh, so, I was going to answer it because I got the question.
Calm down.
10 days a week, work 16 hours a day.
Calm down. Let me do this. I got this. So what I'm saying is, when many of us have done the things that we've done all of our lives, and many of us have gotten into a groove, and we feel like, no, I can do this because I'm used to it. Like the same thing when it comes to when we're talking about sleep, or whether we're talking about partying hard, or when we're talking about drinking or getting high, whatever. But there are a lot of physical things that people can do that can have long-term damage. Like I said, you know, like we were talking about working for working hard, like in physically demanding jobs, like construction workers. You know, like you talk about, if you work as a laborer all your life, you never move up to a skilled position. That means that you basically needed to have muscles for the whole time that you were working. After a while, it's going to be very hard for you to perform your job like that. You know, but just being a football player, I look at these athletes later on in life, and they look so messed up. We be thinking that a lot of people are messed up just because of the stress of their jobs or whatever. But the physical effects, coupled with the stress, can do even more damage and can put you in a position to whereas you're ignoring a lot of the signs. When a lot of people get used to living in pain, so they don't feel the pain in the same way that somebody who just got this damage would look at it. They're like, well, you know, shoot, my back been hurting all of these years. My shoulder been hurting all of these years. I don't know what it's like to go to the bathroom and it not hurt, or to be able to stand up and pee instead of having to sit down. You know, if you're in the case of you're a man or whatever. You know, there's some things that you may ignore that are going on just because you're not quote unquote sick. A lot of people think that because they're not sick, they're healthy. Like I hear people say that about 400-pound people. Oh, I mean, they big and everything, but they healthy. And I'm like, do you understand what health means? Do you know what having that much weight on your body does to your heart? Trust me, it's not in good. I bet you the doctor not telling them that they are healthy in any way. You gotta get some of that weight. You may not be able to reach the BMI that you know they told around here. You may never get to that weight, but you have to get to a position where you're not putting as much stress on your organs, because they just like anything else, just like a battery, they will run out of juice, and when they start to fail, you're going to create a domino effect where one organ messes up and then the other ones start messing up. Like just about everybody who has kidney disease has heart disease too, or problems with the heart, because all of the organs feed each other. So when you are damaging a particular organ, it's just like when you try to work out and strengthen just one muscle. Like I just want to lose this stomach, so I ain't gonna do nothing else. I'm just gonna work on my stomach, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So the same way that it's hard to repair just one thing on your body, it's also hard to keep just one thing damaged. It's really hard. But in our daily living, we may not be paying attention to that, so it makes it a lot tougher.
Right.
So,
Right. That's true.
So yeah.
That's true. And if a person just sat outside of the hospital, you just sit outside the hospital and park and look at the older nurses, not the ones that are just starting, but the older nurses, and watch how they're walking. Look at the older staff that are cleaning the hospitals. Look at the people that have been there for 20 years and getting ready to retire, and watch them walk out of the hospital and see how they're actually walking. See how they're actually, you can see how someone's feeling physically based on that, and it's terrible. It's a terrible thing to see. That was my choice when I decided to do the hours that I do and have the rest and actually go live in nature. It was because I got to work early and I was just sitting there, and I've been doing this job for so far 11 years, working in the nursing field, and I've been a nurse for only 7. And I'm watching people go in and out of the hospital that are older than me. And I'm looking like I'm 42 years old, and I'm looking at these people who are like 50 something, 60 something, going in and out, and I see how broken and bruised they are. And then I look at my mom, who retired as a nurse, and how she's just got the worst back pain and the worst issues and going on with her physically. And I just had to decide that I had to make another choice and do something different. You know what I mean? And do it in a different way that it suits me. Because I'm not a person who is financially driven, so I'm able to make those choices.
Well, yeah. With nurses, what I see, it always amazes me that I know a lot of nurses who, let me just put it this way. One of the biggest downfalls, or one of the biggest disadvantages of people in the health industry, not just nurses, but people in the health industry, and especially nurses, is that because they have access to pharmaceutical drugs, they don't always think that it's important for them to take care of themselves. So I know nurses nurses smoke, sniff coke, they be on all kinds of pills. You know what I mean? And you can tell who's who.
Yeah.
And even so they may start off, looking good because they're younger, but after a while, they be. I'm like, y'all looking like the patients out here, and I don't blame. Hold on. I don't necessarily blame just the hours that nurses make work, because that 12-hour shift, that's a new thing. It wasn't like that before. They chose that shit because they wanted to work less days. They really need to take it back to the 8-hour schedule, because that way they would be more alert. They would have more time at home, but they didn't want the time at home. They're making a 6-figure salary. They wanted to get it in with as least time spent at work as possible, and they got what they wanted. And everybody around them is suffering because of it, because they're not alert. A lot of them don't give a shit. They don't have a good bedside manner. They're smoking, drinking. A lot of nurses party hard. They on drugs and all kinds of shit.
Like I said, my first time seeing cocaine. I've never been a user, but the first time me seeing it was at a nurse's doctor's party when I graduated. That was my first time seeing it. And you got more doctors and more nurses that use cocaine than anybody in the world. I feel like the drug was made for nurses and doctors. They have access, and their training says to take a pill for it. That's why they never talk about cures or right. They can't talk about it. They're not even trained that way. Right. Exactly. And that's the reason why in a few years I will be opening after I'm done with my practitioner license, I'm going to be opening a holistic clinic And that's my goal, is to open a holistic clinic. And that was my goal all along when becoming a nurse.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good stuff, man. But you know, the regular man, woman, and child that are out here, we squat. What do they say? Youth is wasted on the young, and that's true to a certain extent. But not all young people, damage themselves or squander their younger years. But when you get to the point, I like to believe that if you're still alive, you still have a chance, and I honestly, wholeheartedly believe that. But there is a time limit for each and every one of us, and we can all reach our time limit faster by ignoring certain signs, not doing our homework. But it always intrigues me that a lot of people, unfortunately, a lot of people that I've lost in this world have been more afraid of surgery or treatment than they were of dying. They could deal with the thought and the reality of death because I guess they figured that's inevitable. We all gotta go. But they didn't want to get surgery. They didn't want to get treatments. They didn't want to, make even holistic treatments and things like that. They didn't want to explore those kinds of things, so they would rather just let themselves go. And and when we're talking about the long-term damage, I'm wondering what could be the long-term damage on your mentality to bring you to the point where you no longer feel that it's necessary to try anymore.
Yeah, you also lose the sense of empathy as well. It's to the point where now I can tell when someone's going to be passing. I can tell the hour they're going to pass. And that's hard. That's a hard thing to know.
Well,
but for sure.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has gone through their lives, experiencing whatever they experience, and we can't really put an audit on what everybody is going through. So a lot of people have been through things that they can't even remember, not necessarily because they were zooted out, but because they may have had to build a barrier a barrier between that experience and them and their emotional state, so they could just be able to continue to the next day. But that's
your mind naturally does that. Your mind naturally does that. When you get to a point in your mind that you have reached a plethora of a level to where or your mind knows that it's too much for you, it will shut itself off, and you still have that inside, but it still goes back like a rewind of the tape.
Well, unfortunately, not everybody does it in the same way. Whereas you may do it by, reading, meditating, yoga, exercising, eating better foods, educating yourself, going to focus groups or support.
You sound like you know my life.
I'm just saying, I'm just trying to name some natural ways to be able to escape in a positive way. Whereas somebody else may smoke, drink, take drugs, or practice other self-destructive behavior in order to try to temporarily fix that problem, avoid that problem, forget that problem, and things like that. So not everybody does the good things in order to be able to put up that wall. So we have to pretty much look out for each other and look out for ourselves. Our own self check to see, like, what am I handling this right? Like, am I really, because every person, I believe that every person knows whether they are okay or not. We may not express that to everybody else, and sometimes we try to lie to ourselves. But lying to yourself is the hardest thing to do. You may tell yourself, "Yeah, I got away with it. Long as nobody know, I'm good." But
no.
You know,
Yeah,
and
that's for sure.
and that's going to
That's for
have an
sure.
effect. That's going to have an effect on how well you're going to be able to deal with things. You know how they say people snap.
And if uh-huh.
Is
And
it?
if anyone wants to see the long-term effects on anything, then if you're a coffee drinker, then stop drinking coffee for 3 days. And you'll understand how the long-term effects of everything works on your body. If you're a person that needs your coffee every single day and decide not just go 3 days without your coffee and watch the migraines come.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Anything done in excess is going to mess you up later. It is.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
gonna have long term damage because we become dependent
Mhm.
on artificial things. And when you
Uh-huh.
become when the body only add the body is a perfect specimen. It is. It's
Uh-huh.
perfect. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It only asks for nutrition. That's all it asks for. When you're
Yep.
hungry, it's that's your body asking for nutrition. We don't give it nutrition because we're not educated on what
Right.
nutrition is.
But you know what, Sana? I've been a person that's been lucky in my life to have been raised. I was born and raised a vegan vegetarian, and I never went to anybody's school. I throughout life, so when everyone else was in school, I wasn't in school. And I've actually been someone who was able to learn things from my own mind and learn about health from a very, very early age. So my mindset may be different because of the way I was raised. So, but there's a lot that you can learn from taking the time out and deciding to put your own life test on first. But I'm not going to take your whole show. Thank you so much for letting me call in. And
Appreciate you
the
calling in.
call was really fun. I've laughed a few times during the call. I love debating.
That's what's up. All right. Well, have a great day. I'm glad you called in. Call back in anytime, and do the damn thing. Stay positive, and do your best.
Thank you so much, son. Have a good day. And everyone, please like, subscribe to the show. It's a really fun show. Thanks.
Yay! All right. Good
Bye.
looking. Good call. Good call. Good back and forth. It was a little crazy, but yeah, we get it done. We get it done. Unfortunately, nobody else will be able to call in because Blog Talk is on some bullshit. They cut off the ability to be able to call into the stream about a half an hour ago. But anyway, we talked about there was, even though that conversation may have went left sometimes, if you really follow it, there was still a lot of good stuff in there. And when we start talking about the trying to avoid the long-term effects of I'm sorry, the effects of long-term damage, there's so many ways to damage yourself, man. And sometimes you may not even really realize it or even accept it as damaging yourself. Like um we get used to things. It could be the music that you listen to. Like, yeah, music don't do. Yeah, but the thing is, the mind doesn't have the ability to be able to forget what it has heard. So you can listen to music that's concentrating on violence a lot, or negativity a lot, or just something that's not really conducive to your good mental or emotional health. But you might like the beat, and you listening to it, you might even dig the lyrics, like you maybe the way that they laid down their tracks and their rhyme patterns, schemes, and cadence and everything. Maybe you like the way it sounds, but listening to that stuff after a while can actually it can put you in a certain mind state, a negative mind state, to whereas now you are thinking in ways that you were listening. So even though you know that, I don't know, killing somebody is wrong, or murdering somebody is wrong, or taking drugs is wrong, or prostitution is dangerous, or violence is negative. Listening to that stuff over and over again can make you start being desensitized to it, which can make you fail to help somebody that's going through it, or not even recognize that they're going through it. Because you're like, man, it ain't that bad. NWA said, you know what I mean, fuck the police or whatever, you know, I mean, nothing wrong with saying fuck the police. But anyway, you understand what I'm saying. So something as innocent as listening to music can render long-term effects because it can make you think a certain type of way. You know, you saturate your I mean, look at these kids out here listening to this drill music. They are literally living the lyrics that they spitting. So they talking about somebody who got killed, and they are literally the person that killed them. That's landing them in jail, and they don't even understand it. They're like, man, they getting this stuff off of videos and our records. You know what I mean? What happened to the First Amendment? Yeah, what happened to nothing happened to the First Amendment, you dumbass. You now your First Amendment right is their evidence. So it's more than walking on with a walker or on crutches or being in a wheelchair or not being able to hold your piss in or having to use the catheter or not being able to walk anymore, having to be bedridden or not having your mobility or not being able to think as well or do the things that you used to enjoy, not being able to party, not being able to have sex or sometimes even talk or hear or see, you know, losing extremities or your faculties and things like that it includes those things, but it also involves more things. You can compound. Quality of life is important. And sometimes we lose our ability to recognize and acknowledge what quality of life is until we are unable to achieve it. Please hit that like button, y'all. Please share the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Don't let yourself get to the point where you lose your quality of life. And you can extract quality of life no matter what situation you're in. An inspirational but sad story is Teddy Pendergrass and Christopher Reeve. They lost their ability. I mean, they both died quadriplegic. But I believe both of them or one of them. I know Teddy Pendergrass still had children after he was quadriplegic. I did some reading up on it, and somehow, even though they can't walk or use their arms, they can still fuck. Like their dick still get hard. And they can ejaculate. I can't say that it's the kind of quality of life that I would want, but shit. I wouldn't want to live as a fly or a maggot either. But flies and maggots probably wouldn't want to live like human beings. Might be a little complicated for them. Let's do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious June 29th, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special because they are special because they are special because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box, Tanisha Deborah Heiter Dixon. Happy birthday to you. And McIntyre Ancestors Reunion. I guess that's us. Happy birthday to you, all my cousins and aunts and uncles. And also, TTRX. Happy birthday to you. And Rhonda Glover. Happy birthday to you, Ma. Les Little. Happy birthday to you, Les. And Faith Walker. Happy birthday to you. And Jason Claybrook. And my man Christopher Myers, go get a Christopher Myers. Happy birthday to you. Boston stand up all day. Arr. And also Vanya Latreya Cole, happy birthday to you. And Kim Johnson, happy birthday to you. And Frank Ely, Monique O'Neill, Nadira Collier, Carl Holmes, Aisha R. Adams Cash. And that's last but not least. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all. And I hope that today finds you all in good health, happiness, mind, body, soul, and spirit. And that goes out to each and every person out there born on this glorious June 29th. Anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally, all of y'all go ahead and turn up. Turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn, rock out, rock on it, do the damn thing, you do the thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings, you do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind, and anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and remember, I said go hard, go for yours, and remember, long-term effects, long-term damage. No damage can be good. Damage is never a good thing. It's one of those words that aren't really that flexible to mean something good. Now, damage to your enemies in your favor can be a good thing, but damage in and of itself is not a good thing. So we want to do the things in our lives to lessen or reduce the damage, especially the long-term damage, which could signal the reduction of quality of life, or it could take our lives out and leave our loved ones reeling and sad. Listen, during my conversation earlier, I forgot to shout out Stacy White for the super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker. For the super sticker. For the super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yes, I. All right. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death, resuscitate y'all, love y'all right back to life. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. We will be back tomorrow, no beg, borrow, ain't no sorrow. We are coming through here, me and you, and we gonna do what we came to do. That's me and you, boo. And everything will be alright because it has to be alright, because it keep the game tight. And every night and every day and every way that I have something to say, I want y'all come through, hey, and come through and talk too, because we do that thing. Yeah, you know who. All right. Let's get them up out of here. Blog Talk, we gonna get you out of here. Yeah. Let me see. And for my YouTubers, you know just how we do, but thanks for coming on through. See you on the other side, my boobers. Make sure, that's right, no symbols. Shit is big. You see these shits? You know, do you see these? You see how big these shits are? You know what I mean? These like the drum cymbals, but they the hand shits. My life has improved 25% since I got. Kimasabi, calm. Okay. See y'all tomorrow, 1 p.m. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe to the channel, holla back, and have a great day. No exceptions.